I mean, I would love to see that happen, obviously. I'm sure I'm biased. I just, I don't know Porsha, but Porsha just seems like a fun, good-hearted person. Like, it's no internal conflict. Kenya seems to just have some internal conflict that's ugly, that projects as a mean girl, and it makes it extremely difficult to, like I said, have fun, conflict, move on, conflict, move on.
Right. Is there anyone on the cast that Kenya considers herself close with, that really likes her?
I think her and Kandi have an alliance. Would I go so far to say that she necessarily likes her like that? I can't speak on that. I think you all just saw this week the fall, and obviously I talked about the karma. I think you saw no one rushed up to run to check on her, and I think that speaks volumes to how she is behaving and how people genuinely feel about her. But it's still a show, and so she's got to have friends, and so then you see some support later.
So do you think if someone else fell, people would have rushed?
Absolutely. I would have, for sure. Absolutely, right? Like, if your friends fall and you're not sure. It was also obvious that Kenya was okay, because what you didn't see was she was cursing production out. So it was clear she was okay, and she had like this little bounce, and she was clearly more embarrassed than hurt. And, before that conversation, I knew that she was okay. But yeah.
Well, once you become too difficult to work with your co-stars and production, I mean, eventually, it doesn't matter who you are. It is
the
time.
way she speaks to production, it just makes me uncomfortable. Like, again, in Alabama on that trip, the lighting wasn't bright enough for her, and she just tore into this young lady on production, and I just was mortified, and I apologized. I'm like, you know what? Courtney, I am so sorry. Like, that was so inappropriate, and that's not right. And I just don't like that. Like, that shit is not cool. Like, you are not above anybody, and it's not cool.
And then, like, when that happens, like, I mean, is everyone like Kandi, Marlo, Shereé, like, okay, this is Kenya, like, this is how it goes?
I don't know, because I wasn't really paying attention to everybody's reaction. Right. But for me personally, I was like, my friends just don't do that. You don't treat people like that.
Were you? No, you don't. Were you shocked, like, that she was speaking in production like that?
I was. Because I actually, before getting on the show, had no idea that was her real personality, right? Like, I just thought it was this bigger than life. I'm a diva. I'm playing this villain role, and I'm double downing on it. But to see the cameras off and how she talks to people, it's literally disgusting.
And you probably thought, not that there's any excuse, but you probably thought, like I would think, I mean, I've been on reality shows too, so I know how it works, but you would think if you weren't, like, you can't even speak to production like that. You wouldn't even think it's like,
it's not okay. Like, we're in 2023. Like, people have rights, and you just don't bullying is not cool. Like, come on, stop. It's not okay.
And production is not an easy job.
I mean, it's not, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's someone sweeping it does not matter. Totally. We're all humans, and it's so gross and disrespectful. I lost a lot of respect for her in that moment, and seeing that a couple times. We are all in water.
So I take it you don't regret the karma comment?
Absolutely not. But do you think karma is a bad word? Like, I talk about my karma all the time. Like, I wake up, I bump my toe, I'm like, shit, what did I do to deserve that? Like, good things happen to me, and I'm like, okay, God, this is my good karma. So to me, karma isn't a bad word. I thought her falling was her karma, potentially, right? But it wasn't even that serious to me, and it wasn't like, I would never want Kenya or anyone else to be hurt. Let's be clear. Right. Had she not been down there cursing after she walked out of the hotel with slippers on in the rain with signs everywhere that said, that was saying wet, be careful, I would not have said that. But you came out arguing in a bad mood, being disrespectful to production, and you bust your ass. Like, it might be your karma. Sorry, I'm not the karma goddess, but just maybe.
It sounds like karma is the right word, yeah.
I mean, right.
I believe in karma.
I do too. And for other people who don't, I respect that. But I do, and it's what I said, and I own it.
Why do you think everyone is so obsessed with finances? Like, there's all this talk specifically about like Drew. We've seen it, and we've seen it with Shereé. I mean, over the why is everyone, even Marlo? People want to know where Marlo gets money from. People are, she by Shereé. Is it real or not? Now we have Drew. Why is this group so obsessed with everyone's finances?
You know what? That's a good question, but maybe just because the platform and what it represents, that's the lifestyle that it represents. And I think that Atlanta has had a history of women living outside of their means. Like, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm super conservative, and I live, I proudly live within my means, right? But I think that because we've seen that over and over, it's just a reoccurring conversation that we keep hearing,
I am a Gemini. I think housewives in general live above their means.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that ever.
That's really, that would be some good advice.
My ex-husband was a multimillionaire, so I had a pretty nice lifestyle. I am not. So I'm not going to pretend we divorced in 2020. I'm not going to live the way I lived, although I'm comfortable after the divorce. And I'm a working woman who've worked my whole life. But I'm not going to live the way I live with a man who,
I think that's
into a trust fund, right? Like, it's not a very smart thing to do, and I'm never going to do that. And so, no judgment, but I think that's just the nature of the beast at this point.
I think that's really good advice.
Yeah.
My best advice is be authentic and don't ever live above your means. Yeah. I think that's what a lot of housewives.
Like, I would not.
Me too.
I would never
live above my means.
I can't.
Ever.
Sorry, being poor is my worst fear in life. So I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people laugh all the time. Like, my friends are like, Courtney, you're broke because not everybody else is broke. I'm like, yeah, it is. Because when I look at that checking account, it doesn't matter what's in my trust, my 401k. Like, that checking account, if it's at a number, I'm like, I'm broke, bitches. I can't.
I'm pretty much the same way. Listen, I have a great life. I spend money, but I get to a point where I'm like, girl, who do you think you are? You are not Beyonce or Madonna. No, you better pull your shit together.
And I just think about getting old and how much income I'm going to have and really grinding these next couple of years, which is why I launched the jewelry line. I am just you know what? I'm just very careful with money. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to be.
Yeah.
Who, a lot of people say that, this season and last season that Marlo, that she's got her peach now. You watched back in the day, she was the longest running friend of, basically. She gets her peach. A lot of people say Marlo is just so extra. She just is throwing the kitchen sink in there. Like you said, banging the door down. She does too much. Do you think that's...
She does, and I love it because it's so authentic and genuine. And Marlo does not run from the fact that she's working through some deeply rooted childhood issues, which we all can relate to, right?
Yeah.
We've all got stuff that haunts us, that presents internal conflicts. And Marlo has been so authentic and honest about that not that she gets a pass, but a little bit. We understand why she is the way that she is. And I also feel like she's sincerely wanting to be better and just evolve. And so I give her